All right, you seen the title in the thumbnail. Y'all ready for another true dump and go recipe in the slow cooker? I'm gonna show you guys how to make lemon pepper pork chop. Yep, right in that crock pot. Y'all ready? Get in your kitchen, let's go. All right, let's do a quick rundown of the ingredients. So right here we have our pork chops. I'm using bone-in pork chops. Now, if you wanna use boneless, that's fine, it's totally up to you. I had some bone-in pork chops in my freezer, so I'm gonna use those. We have some black pepper. We have a little pork stock here. Now, if you don't have any pork stock, you can use chicken stock or chicken broth. It's totally up to you. When I make my little pork stock, only thing I do is I get a pork bouillon cube and I boil me some water and I sprinkle the bouillon cube in there, and it just kind of makes like a broth or a stock, whatever you want to call it. Here we have some lemon pepper seasoning, paprika, fresh squeezed lemon juice, some garlic cloves, salt. Now, I know you're saying, well, why are you using salt if you're using lemon pepper seasoning? For me, when I add just lemon pepper seasoning, it doesn't have enough salt flavor in it for me. It gives me that lemony flavor, but it doesn't balance out with the salt. So I add just additional salt just to kind of balance it out. And that's just for me. You don't have to do it because, of course, lemon pepper seasoning typically has salt in it, but I use additional salt. Right here we have some lemon slices and some olive oil. So that's all you're gonna need, guys. Let's go ahead and get started. So to get started, we're gonna season our pork chops. Now I'm just gonna add a little olive oil here to our pork chops, and it's just gonna work as a binder for the seasoning. I typically like to do that when I'm baking my chops. I put them in the slow cooker. And from there, we're gonna start adding our salt, some of that paprika, that black pepper. And I'm gonna mix it as I add it, just because we're doing it here in this bowl, and we want to get it, make sure it's even out and gets on all pieces of our pork. And the last thing we're gonna do, add the star of the show, which is our lemon pepper seasoning, and we're gonna add that the same way. And guys, you can use as much or as little seasoning as you like. It's totally up to you. Season it to your liking. What you see me do here is what I like to do. All right, guys, so that's what we have. I'm gonna let that sit aside for about 10 to 15 minutes while we prepare our slow cooker, and we're gonna come right back. All right, guys, so you can do this one or two ways. I've done them both ways. Before you add them to the crock pot, you can brown them on both sides, then add them to the crock pot, or you could add them directly to the crock pot and just make it a truly dump and go. Either way works fine. If you add them to the crock pot without browning them, what I recommend and what I usually do is once they're finished cooking, I throw them under the broiler to brown it on top. That's it. Either way works. Some people say, well, it's better to brown it first because you got a little bit more flavor. That's true too, but it's not gonna be that much of a difference. What we're looking for really is that lemon flavor on these pork chops. So let's start getting them into our crock pot. And guys, don't worry about having them in a single layer. They can be on top of each other. Doesn't matter. If you don't want your pork chop to curl up, make sure you cut a slit into it. Now what I did right here, I had this piece that was connected right here and it was making my pork chop curl, so I just detached it a little bit. That's some meat there. I'm gonna leave that on there, but I don't want my pork chop to curl up while it's cooking. So you just kind of cut slits into your fat piece, or you could just, from this, the way this one is, the only thing I did was detach that part of it. See, if you look at this, look how this is gonna curl up, just like that. So I'm gonna do some work with this one real quick and see what I just did right there. See how I cut that fat? Now it's gonna lay flat in here. I'm gonna leave this additional fat on here because that's gonna give it that flavor while it cooks too. Now, once it gets out, you can cut that little fat off, doesn't matter. So now we're gonna add our garlic cloves. We're gonna add our pork stock around the bottom, around the side, shall I say, along with our lemon juice. And we're gonna add our sliced lemons to the top. Put some of these garlic cloves over there in this broth. That way it gets some more flavor in that baby. All right, we're just gonna cover this up We're gonna let this thing rock out for the next 3 hours and we're gonna come right back. All right, so we're about 3.5 hours in. We're gonna remove our lid. Guys, take a look at what we have right here. See if I can get one of them up. Just I don't wanna break it because you know these babies tender. Take a look at that. So what we're gonna do now, like I told you, we're gonna add them to a baking rack. I've already preheated my oven on broil for 450 degrees. We're gonna sit that under the broiler, get some color on it. Then we're gonna come right back so we get into quality control, all right? So here we are a couple of minutes from under the broiler. This is what we have. Take a look at what we got, man. I'm telling you, these babies are looking good. Let's go ahead and go over to our cutting board and get it plated up and get into our final presentation, all right? And there we have it, guys. Lemon pepper pork chops in the slow cooker. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Let's jump into quality control so we can test this baby out. You ready? Let's go. All right, we're in here, quality control time. Guys, oh man. Guys, take a look at that. Ooh, man. I'm gonna put this plate down. I'm just gonna grab me one. Take a look at this. I'm getting stepping up to the congregation. Don't get no prettier than that. Let's try it out. Listen, that plate over there is something serious. I'm not even gonna take another bite. I gotta take this over to the table because I'm gonna have my elbows on the table. I'm gonna be licking my fingers because them babies are so good. And guys, I forgot to mention, I added a half a stick of butter. I chopped them up in like 4 or 5 pieces and added them to our crock pot. Don't forget to do that to add some additional flavor. So until then, I'm your cook, Spinelli, all wings, everything. And remember, I'm not a chef. I just cook a lot and I'm out. Peace.